yeah, and Ibu Dew Ain, our library coordinator, and also we are honored to have Ibu Nafsiamboy here. Welcome, Bu. Yeah, Ibu Nafsiamboy is Indonesian, former Indonesian Health Minister, ya. Okay. And also, we are delighted to have all of you here to participate in this event. Thank you very much. Before we start, we are very pleased to let you know that Atma Jaya Library will soon have a special area of band and Nafsiamboy collection. It is an honor for us to receive such a great trust. Therefore, we would like to give a special thanks to Ms. Ibu Nafsiamboy, who has generously given her late husband precious collections to Atma Jaya Library. And then, so far, we have been processing 7,742 collections out of 22,890 collections. Yeah. And then we believe that the number will increase significantly until the launching ceremony on August 15, 2018. Okay, and then after the ceremony, the area will be open publicly for national and international research. We welcome everyone who is interested to do research, especially in politics, government, public policy, history, and others. Yeah. And then those who want to know more about his biography, his interest, his thought, and his life choice are also welcome. Yeah. We believe that his huge interest in many aspects will broaden our horizons and inspire us to do the best for this country in many aspects. Also, this series events of book discussion will be held regularly. Yeah. We will invite and cooperate with national or international experts around the world to review the band and Nafsiamboy collections. We believe that these serial events will interest and benefit many people from different subject areas and bring a great impact to the audience. Okay, this evening we have our first speaker of our serial events, Lan. Yeah, give applause to Lan. She is from Vietnam National University. Yeah. And then we also have Salma. Yeah, Salma, she is from Austria. Yeah, University of Austria. Okay. And Lan is our government programs. Yeah, dan mahasiswa. So we have exchange students from students around the world, and she's from Vietnam, and we accept her here. Okay, now Salma from Vienna will introduce Lan further. Yeah. Okay, give applause to Lan. To Salma.
So, ladies and gentlemen, also hello, welcome from my side. Thank you all for joining our discussion. I am Selma Egmar. I am one of the fortunate students to be chosen for this program and to work for this great project of Mr. and Mrs. Boy. Well, after 3 weeks of intense work by reading, researching, and organizing, we have finally come to the point where we can present our results. Today's event will focus on one of Mr. Boy's numerous talents and interests, which is languages. Therefore, my lovely colleague will present you the topic from a new perspective. Lan is currently achieving her bachelor's degree in applied linguistics at the National University of Vietnam. So, ladies and gentlemen, please let me introduce you, Lan.
Thank you, I'm so happy of being here, and thank you for coming here. There's a lot. I didn't expect a lot of people coming like that. It will be like, okay, if 10 people coming here to hear me, it will be great, and I'm so thrilled. So my name is Lan. I'm from Vietnam. I major in applied linguistics. And the reason why I'm here today, and will be here today for the next 1.5 hours, is that by the end of the Indonesian language in Atma Jaya. When I was about to fly back to Vietnam, the international office called me up and told me that there's a huge collection of books being donated to the library, and they was looking for someone to work on it. So especially for the publication part, and so I do a little research about it, and I learned that the collection is from Mr. Ben Boy and his wife Ibu Nafsia. There is like 19,000 books in the collection, and I was hesitating because I just a language lover, a language learner, and who I am to begin with. They are such a great politicians. So to be honest, I'll be honest with you guys, I'm like a political virgin. If someone asks me which political stand do you have, my answer would be, where's my mom? We always have a friend who never get into any political conversation because of me. So I was afraid that I'm not good enough to work in the collection of those great politicians. But then someone told me that Mr. Ben Boy can use 8 languages to learn from the books which were written in foreign language. And I was like, oh my God, that's awesome. I have been studying Thai, Korean, Spanish, English, and Indonesian. But I failed a lot. And now I just be able to speak English and Indonesian. So I know that what Mr. Ben Boy have done is not something that an ordinary person can do easily. So that's why I'm here. And you know what? It is said that beside every successful man stands a strong, supportive, and loving woman. So in order to learn about Mr. Ben Boy, yeah, it's had to be wife. Sorry, Ibu. A strong, supportive, and loving wife. So joining us today is Mr. Nafsia, his loving wife. I was very lucky to have the chance to sit with her and listen to her story about Mr. Ben Boy, and I hope that today our friends today have the same honor to listen to Mr. Ben Boy, listen about Mr. Ben Boy as I used to. So please have a word.
Thank you, Lan. Talking about my husband would take more than 10 minutes. It's okay? Okay. Then get me a chair so I can sit. No, just a chair. But everybody speaks Indonesian, right? Shall I speak Indonesian? Yeah, okay. Bubat, teman-teman dan saudara-saudara sekalian, terima kasih atas kehadirannya sore hari ini. Saya senang sekali. Saya sangat excited, terus terang saja. Oleh karena mungkin ini adalah pertama kali seorang, jadi Lan adalah kita punya international fellow yang pertama yang melakukan book discussion seperti ini. And I'm very excited and I'm very proud. Thank you, Lan. Apalagi pilihannya adalah bahasa. Nah, saya tidak tahu persis apa yang akan saya harus sampaikan, tetapi barangkali sedikit sesuai permintaan Lan, Lan speaks Indonesian too, bahwa dua teman ini, why don't you ask me questions so I can reply? Come. Take a chair. Come. You ask me question, and Lan, you take another chair. You sit here. And you ask me question because you have seen the collection. Jadi sebagaimana tadi dikatakan oleh Lan, memang bukunya banyak, ya. Bukunya banyak banget. Sebenarnya ada 23.000 items, 22.000 lebih. Tapi bukunya sendiri 13.166 buku dalam 21 bahasa, 21 languages, and among those books, 253 encyclopedias and 118 dictionaries. Jadi saya harapkan bahwa nanti setelah dilihat juga ada dictionaries bahasa-bahasa lokal seperti bahasa rote, sabu, tetun dan sebagainya. Okay, why don't you ask me questions?
Well, I have to talk in English because I'm
Of
not
course.
really fluent in Bahasa. My interest is politics, so
Yes.
I would like to ask you a question about Mr. Ben and Boy's interest in reading all the books in combination with politics. Like, what was it?
Okay, so well, he started falling in love. I hear you are all listening very tightly. He started falling in love when he was in SMA, high school, 52 to 55, because he came from very poor background. He couldn't afford to pay the tuition fee. So the priest said, okay, fine, you come work here and among to pay tuition for the tuition fee, and among others, his task was in the library, and that is where he was exposed to books, and he fell in love with books. He realized that he loved reading, and he started reading anything and everything. Did he read them? When did he start buying books? It was when he already had some income, okay? So that's when he became a medical, he's doctor, medical doctor, military doctor, and his sense of politics, his interest and love for politics started when he was a student. He was already an activist with the Catholic student movement, and he had lots of friends in the organizations. And later on, he became from Jakarta when he became doctor. He was a part of the Red Berets, so parachuted in Merauke. At that time, Merauke was still part of the Netherlands colony, and so he became he was curious, because one day they were fighting, they were shooting at the Dutch, and the next day he was working in the hospital and became very good friends with the doctor. And he had discussions, a lot of discussions about the Dutch colonization of Indonesia. Very interesting. That's why you see also, and later on, when he had the means, he was able to buy books of the whole, that era when we were under the colonialization of the Dutch. I think his books are from 1600 something until Konferensi Meja Bundar. I'm very proud to say that's a unique collection. The conference, the roundtable discussions for the apa namanya? Transition from Dutch to Indonesian government. And when we saw the collection, we immediately said, "Woo! We shall not send this." So we had carried it back from Kupang to here. And then, of course, later on, he became a member of parliament. He was a member of parliament. And then he was chosen to be the governor of the province of Nusa Tenggara Timur from 78 to 88. And there, of course, his political sense and his political interests were becoming more and more developed and related to actually development politics. And that is why when you were asking, it is such a wide range, because as the governor, he had to be able to speak he had to be able to discuss all these topics.
Thank you.
And later on, wait a minute, yeah, but actually until his day, until he passed away in 2015, he was still very, very much interested, and even he could, you know, he got agitated if on TV he saw the politician talk nonsense in his but indeed that is why his sense and his choice of political literature was very wide. Now you can ask that.
Oh yeah, so I know that he fell in love with books since
Yes.
SMA.
Yes.
And I'm kind of curious, when did he fall in love with you?
Oh my God! Oh my God! Oh my God! Oh my God! Did they teach that in politics?
Oh, I'm not majoring in politics, I'm majoring in life.
Okay, I know we first met when I entered the Faculty of Medicine of the University of Indonesia in 1958. He was already a senior student, and he was chair of the Catholic organization. He was chair of the Senate in the university, and so he was a big person. And I don't know, I didn't know why he fell in love, and I don't know why I fell in love with him. But it should be around that, and our courtship was 6 years, and because we came from totally different backgrounds, okay, we we broke maybe 122 times. But in the end, when in '62 he was sent to, he volunteered actually. He volunteered into the military as the only doctor who was parachuted into Merauke. And when he got lost, well actually it was the medicine that got lost, but the telegram from there said, medic lost. So the Minister of Health here thought it was the doctor that was lost. But indeed, then I knew that I loved him. Because he was lost several months. Several months. But that's another story.
Okay.
And I think I will give the opportunity to the audience.
Anyone
One
here
woman,
have-
one man. Oh, you want to ask another question?
I just want to ask if anyone here has the question.
Or if not, why don't we go to you? It's much better that they came here to listen to you, not to me.
Okay.
So again, thank you all very much.
Thank you, Bu. So I know that Ibu Napsa is very busy. Actually, today she has to go to another event like right after that. And I'm so thankful for you to spending time to talk with the audience here. So talking about languages, can I change the mic?
Here, this one is good.
Oh, thank you. So talking, I'm sorry, not used to it. Talking about languages, especially English, the second purpose of the book discussion today, besides getting to know about Mr. Ben Moy and Ibu Napsia and their collection, is to discuss about this book, The Mother Tongue English and How It's Got That Way. Anyone here have read the books already? So,
Karen.
oh yeah, I think Karen is the only one.
Bits and pieces.
So no one did their homework.
Some of every chapter.
There's a lot of things to talk from this book, but we cannot go over all of this for this short little segment. So we're gonna focus on 2 chapters that I find the most interesting and challenging in English, which is how where words come from and the pronunciation of English. So this is what's gonna happen. I will present the book for you a little bit because no one did their homework. And after that, there will be several follow-up questions so that you can discuss in groups and raise your voice about the reflection in Indonesian. For the first chapter, where words come from. So English is the language which has a rich vocabulary. It has the words to describe the rarest phenomena, like Christocopophilia. This is the urge that whenever you pass a house, you always want to look through the window to see what's going on in the house. And the next, velleity is like the very sly intention to do something. It's like, I want to do it, but no, I don't do it. It's happened all the time with us, and English has words for that. And the words that I like the most either is the word serendipity. It's like the fortunate occurrence. Like you are not looking for something, but you happen to find it and you enjoyed it. It's like me working in the collection of Mr. Bimbo and Ibu Nafsia. I was not looking for the opportunity, but I was offered the opportunity, and I ended up learning a lot, cool things from it, and I have a great time. So quotes in English, there are words for almost everything, but I think it's a little bit hyperbole. Like one of the words in Indonesian language that English doesn't have is the word dia. It's a neutral non-gender pronoun. So if I said the following task in class, find a person and ask for his or her name. How do you say it in Indonesian? Cari satu orang di ruang kelas dan minta nama, umur dia dan keluarga dia, dan tanya gimana dia pikir tentang keluarganya. So if it's in English, it's going to be so lengthy. Find a person in class and ask for his or her name and age, and his or her family, and how she or he thinks about his or her family. It's going to be so pushing and so tired. The second feature of English is that there's most of the time a pair of words that refer to different opposite directions, like good and bad, short and tall. But in some pairs, one party just died, like for no reason, and no one knows why. For example, we have the word backlog. It refers to a load of works that you have to do after the vacation. So it is supposed to have the follow-up, which is supposed to mean the load of work that you have to do before you go to the vacation, but it doesn't exist. And for example, the roost and roostless. Nowadays we just have the ruthless. The roosters died. And the same case happened to Demis and Comet. The next feature of English is that we have diverse shading of meanings. For example, the words house and home. I heard a lot of people saying, I'm gonna go to my house, and I'm gonna go to my home. So the difference, the slight difference between home and house is that the house refers to the construction, the material construction, and the home is something like emotional and psychological. So I'm gonna go home, it's like I'm not gonna go to the construction, but I'm gonna go to the place where I can be myself, I can be very comfortable. And the childish and childlike, childish, they both refer to a person being like same as a child, but with different shading of meaning. Childish mean like kind of negative, like immature, but childlike is like you're kind of innocent like a child. And a lot of people mistaken those two words, that's why they always tell me childish, but I know that they mean I'm childlike. And another evil of English, which makes it like way more pushing, is the contronyms, which is words that have contradictory meanings. So wind up both mean finish and start. If we wind up the meeting, is finish the meeting, but if we wind up the watch, it is start the watch. So to have those features in English, as today English has been developing through a lot of phases, and there is 5 main ways that it is formed. The first way is someone just make a mistake and it become a word. Like for example, most of you here, I mean everyone here knows the word sweetheart, right? It's actually a wrong word. The correct word is sweetheart, like dollar. Dollar is a person who is dolt, so sweetheart is a person who is sweet. But there's someone just misheard it, and then he misspelled it, and now we have the sweetheart. The thing is, the new word, the wrong word, totally makes sense. Like someone is sweet, and the heart is a symbol of the love. So other people just use it without questioning, and it's become with the spelling like today. So the lesson is, you don't have to follow the convention. People will accept you as long as you're meaningful. The next way that English are formed is they just borrow from other language. So as I know, Indonesian language may borrow words from like around 10, give or take. But English is like, hello, 50, give or take. English borrow words from more or less 50 languages. Like we have shampoo from India, ketchup from China, sofa from Arabic, and slogan from Gaelic, and we even have amok from Indonesian. Do you know where it comes from?
Right.
Oh, what is it?
Amuk.
Yeah, true. And its mean?
Amuk kekacauan riot.
Is it like angry?
Riot.
Riot.
Oh yeah, it's furious.
Amuk, furious.
So
Riot.
amok in English refer to a psychological phenomenon, and it is rooted in Indonesian language. The next way, no, this is not the next way. It's just another example. It is very interesting example. So there is a girl we know in kindergarten or in elementary school, and she's like invisible in class because she's not that beautiful, she's not that pretty, but then she is apart from us, and then bang, after a couple years we met her again and she's gorgeous, like we can't recognize her anymore. Same as English, we have bulire, which means boy, or bubble in Latin, and then it goes through a lot of phases in puberty, and now we have garbage in English, which is the same word, but like there's nothing the same anymore, even the meaning. Another example is the word bankrupt. No one likes that word, but this is interesting because bankrupt actually means the bench is broken. So in the Middle Age, people traded in the open air market. And when a man has no money to pay anymore, his bench is broken. So from that, nowadays English borrow from it and like modify a little bit. So we have the word bankrupt, which means you don't have any money anymore. The third way is creation of words. And talking about creation, we cannot ignore the name Shakespeare. He just eat and drink and create words. He contributed to English more than 1,700 words, including those that we usually use today, like critical, majestic, callous, excellent, hence, hurry, lonely, submit, etc., etc., and so on. So before Shakespeare, maybe people have very difficulty to describe what their life is going on because they don't have those words. The next way that words are formed is they just change. And one direction of changing is they become more specific. So, for example, before starve means die, like for any reason, you just starve. But nowadays it means specifically die by hunger. And back in the day, deer means any animal, and now it just means the animal that's shown in the picture. Meat used to mean food. So back in the day, in a meeting of vegetarians, it's like, okay, we're gonna have meat for lunch. If nowadays we say that, it will freak the hell out of animals for vegetarians who want to eat meat. And before, worm means any crawling creature, so we can call the snake a worm. The last way that words are formed is the addition of the affix to the words. For example, we have here the 8 negative prefixes, which can add to the beginning. Prefixes is the beginning, right? And the suffix is the part that we add in the ending of the words. For example, a, anyone knows any word that has the prefix a? Yeah, yeah, true. Anonym is like the words that have opposite meaning. What else?
Atypical.
Yeah, atypical. This is the name of the movies that I'm watching now, by the way. Anti, like antibiotic, and in?
Indecent.
Yeah, indecent. What about this? Yeah, and disadvantages. In? Immeasurable. Impossible. Ear. Irrelevant, irregular. Oh, I feel so negative right now. What about un?
Unusual.
Yeah, unusual. Non?
Non-verbal.
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 What is that, sir? Nonsense. Okay. Feel so negative. Okay, so let's move on to the next chapter. The chapter 6 is about the most challenging, but also the most interesting part in English. Quote, if there is one thing certain about English pronunciation, it is that there's almost nothing certain about it. Same as women. If there's one thing certain about women, is that almost nothing certain about women. For example, OUGH. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So those 7 words have totally different meaning. Have totally different pronunciation for the combination of OUGH. For the next one, anyone know how to pronounce that word? The top one in red.
True.
Oh yeah, sure. And the next one is, it is though. Ooh, okay. Next one. Thought, correct. Next. Yeah, exactly. And the next one is cloud. Oh my God, this is a lot of question. So the next red, the second red, is this lock. It's like in British English, it's like the name of the lake where there is a monster. And the last one is choof. It's no relevant at all. Yes, English can be weird. It can be understood though through tough swallow thoughts. And another feature of English pronunciation is something that is coined as the term Slovene, a beautiful term to describe the combination of sounds that go closely together that sometimes we can't tell where the words begins and finish. Quote, syllables, words, sentence run together like watercolor left in the rain, unquote, from page 90. So this is the question, and this is the answers that I heard. But where you from? I'm from Unika. How's the test? That stuff? That's the name of the book, I Love You. And what's the test result? Grade A. Except for the third one, which is a little bit, okay, understandable. The other 3 is like, if you are not drinking hard, so like for a week, you cannot make sense of those. But actually, the answer is that I'm from Macau. Out of you in grade A, but they are pronounced totally the same. But anyway, in most cases, you will be able to interpret the speaker's meaning based on context and based on how they raises his tones and lowers his tone. Another thing that is pushing in English is the shortened form of expression. So we used to say a long expression to say goodbye with each other, God be with you, and then people just get tired and lazy, so it's gonna be goodbye. And hope is out. It's like, hey, you're still the same, still a whole, and it's become hello. But talking about shortened form, I think no one can beat Indonesian. Indonesian people are like so creative and so lazy that like everything can be shortened. So the other day, when I was travel with my friend Wendy on the street, and there is something called bodur. So I checked the dictionary, there's no that word. And then I have to ask him again, and he said, it is polisi tidur. I was like, the one that makes you... This is the shorter form that I find the most interesting. And I believe that there is thousands more, like bodur. So this is basically the main information from the 2 chapters in the book. So to reflect on that in Indonesian language, in your mother tongue, I would love to form you guys into different groups and discuss those questions. We will have like 20 or 25 minutes and to answer all those questions, and I would love to hear from you. So please form a group of 4 or 5 people. And hello, Ibu. I didn't see you before. This is Ibu Yanti, my former teacher. I'm so happy to have you here. So please turn around so that we can form a group of 4 or 5 and discuss the question. After the group discussion, we're gonna have a game and about idioms, and then we can have lunch. We have dinner. Please form a group of 4. You guys think you guys move here? No, you don't. So the first question is a word in Indonesian that has no equivalent translation in English. So because this is the question about a word and you guys have like a group of 4 or 5, so I expect to have at least 4 words from each group. That is same as the number of the participants in the group. The next question is acronym in Indonesian language. It's like the short form, like another tidur, tidur. And the last question is kind of a practical question, which is the pronunciation problem in Indonesian language. Seven people.
Okay. Masuk angin.
Oh yeah, I know that. Nadia always told me that. Oh my God, you have to wear a jacket. Otherwise, you will be like masuk angin. This is something that's special for Indonesia because in Vietnam we just wear tank top to go to the street because it's angin aja tidak ada masuk. But Indonesian people like are so afraid of wind or something. You guys always wear jacket.
No, it's different. Angin is the symptom of the body. So it doesn't, in fact, doesn't relate to whether you will get angin, you would like to have a mostly weather, but it's something that you feel bad with your body. You feel something hurt, sore.
Oh.
In your body. And then sore, and then perhaps later on that you will get that, and then you know how to cure it. So this one is also not very good in English.
Oh yeah.
What's that? So to let the angin go out.
So the wind coming in, and then
You will feel all your body sore.
okay.
Then you will have the angin coming out, and then you do some kerokan, you know kerokan. So, yes, you can
Wait a minute, what is skin of a tiger?
Stripes.
Oh yeah, okay. The skin of a tiger, oh my god.
So that's about masuk angin dan kerokan.
Okay, do we have like 5 more words? Okay, Ibu older, so I accept it. Okay, the group, do you want to? You have one more? Oh my god! Oh, it's real tiger skin. Oh my god, look at that. Masuk angin. Yeah, true. It's like my group form. Okay, other group, do you have other words to add up for the first question? A word that has no translation in English.
The word is dasar.
Dasar.
Yes. In English it means basic, but in Indonesia it means different way.
Yeah, it's not really basic, right? So when will you use the word? For example.
For when a person makes me angry, like dasar lu, gak tau
Oh,
diri,
really?
like that.
So, like basic look?
Basic.
So
And that's why maybe it's not basic.
So it is to respond to a person who like makes you angry.
Yeah. For real.
That's how.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh wait, what about other words? Do you have any other words?
I don't think that I'm allowed to say this.
It's okay. It's a language, so everything is
So
language.
it is comfort.
Kampus.
Comfort.
Kampus.
Yes.
What does it mean? Why are the people laughing?
I don't think that I'm allowed to say it.
Okay, explain it for me.
It is actually means an animal. But in Indonesia, it means it's like bat. And we say it for, it's like a slang when we are angry at someone.
So I'm bad.
It's swearing, yeah.
I'm bad. There is something like jangan gaya saya susah. Is this an expression in Indonesia? Jangan gaya saya. Jangan gaya saya susah. Yeah, when he told me that, and I was like, what does it mean? And he translated for me. Don't rich you difficult. And I was like, what? And so what does it mean? Jangan gaya aku susah. Jangan gaya aku susah.
Jangan kayak gak kayak orang
Like, don't be like me, I'm a difficult person? Oh, okay. So gaya is like. It's not rich. So his English is bad. It's like, don't rich me. Difficult. Okay, other words, anyone has other words that
English doesn't. Dimadu.
Okay, interesting. What is it?
When a husband has a second wife, the first wife becomes dimadu.
But what the meaning is refers to? Like you're not a wife anymore or something?
A husband
What's the word again?
dimadu.
Imadu. Okay. I have to note it down. Oh. Okay, this group. What's your word? This group. Ibu Peggy. Kenapa ibu cek Instagram?
dodol lu.
deviating. I know that one. I know that she tries to make fun of me. I know Dodo is.
I can do
It's sweet, right? It's a candy that is sweet. So thank you. Okay, what about this group? What words do you have? What is it? Explain it.
Just like situation when
It's like
feeling something if something is too cute or too annoying, like
what again? Okay, so just tell me the word again.
greget,
Huh?
greget,
Good. Oh my god. Okay, move to the next question. We have the short form of expression, and okay, I have this one. It's very interesting. Like Indonesian people are not just like normally lazy, but you're like extremely lazy. So other languages they just shorten the expression like once, but you guys like shorten this twice. And I heard from the cameraman here, Pak Kotot, before he told me about like first they shorten the word into another form and then maybe it's still long, so it's like shortened from another time. What is it? Kata yang dua kali. Pak, kata yang dua kali pendekkan. Singkat. Tadi Pak bilang ada satu. Pak lupa. Up. What is this? Someone is more nervous. Okay, just tell me when you remember it because it's a very interesting thing. Okay, now we go back to the groups. Let's start with that group first. For the second question, what's your group discussion result?
The first word is tell me.
Tell me?
Yeah. Let me hear. It means like a slow responding, slow thinker.
Oh. It's like me. What's the word again? Tell me.
Yeah.
It's like tell me?
Yeah.
Tell me, the long form of it is
Slow thinker.
telat pikir. Oh, telat pikir. Tell me. Okay. Tell me. Okay, what about this word?
Similar to Belvi, Lola, loading lama.
Oh. What again?
Lola. Loading lama. Loading. Same as
Oh, same meaning. So we
Belvi.
have two words. Oh yeah. It's a word for me to process. Thank you. Now me dan Lola. What about you? What's the short form of expression in Indonesian?
This is a very common slang that teenagers use these days. It's mager.
Oh, I know. Huh? Malas.
So it's like when you're so comfortable in one position, and if someone says like, "Come on, let's go somewhere," and you're like, "Mager ah," it's like malas gerak. So you don't want to move because you're just so comfy.
It's like I want it, but now I don't do it. Believe Ibu? Oh yeah. Okay. You're higher level. Okay, what's your group word? We so far have Elmi, Lola,
EGP.
EGP.
Emang gue pikirin.
Emang gue pikirin. What does it mean? I actually.
I don't care.
What again?
EGP
pelakor. Perebut laki orang. What is that?
Woman who steals someone's husband.
Nafi ya. Dan pelakor.
Peggy pelakor.
A lot of slang. Wow. Pelakor. Okay, we actually have a game about idioms, but before we get into that, let's get serious a little bit about pronunciation problems in Indonesian. No, it's not in Indonesian language, but in English language that is spoken by Indonesian people. So, from your experience, what problems do you have? I'm sorry, the question is a little misleading because typo. So, in your experience, what problem do you have when you study English, especially regarding to pronunciation? The TH. The ending T? I know about the TH sound, and it's like common in any language because it is very rare in Africa. Just even several languages have it, but the last, the ending T.
Yeah, the word with ending T. Some of us difficult to pronounce it, like when pronouncing right, the R-I-G-S-T. We tend to say right.
So you guys
is not very clear.
Huh. Okay, just one tip for the ending T. So the T sound is not aspirated in the end of the word. So like, you expect it to sound like right, but actually when we speak, the T at the end of the word is never pronounced. It's like right. It's like stuck in your throat because you need time to pronounce the other words. So you don't have to aspirate it. You don't have to push it out. It's the same as other sounds like D and T, P and V. So it's like, for example, okay, give me one example of a word that ending with the D sound, the D sound. Yeah, for example, the word sound. We don't say like sound, but we say sound. And like the word bad, like jelek. So we don't say bad, we just need to say bad. And the word like the Batman is like bat. Yeah, we don't aspirate it. So we don't have to worry much about aspirating at the end of the words. So we have here in this group the TH sound and the ending T sound, right? What else?
For certain ethnics in Indonesia, so they've got problem also with the V or sound.
Okay.
The initial. So they will say, for example, for Jen, they will say, or TV, they will say TP, TP.
Oh,
Something like that.
so TP, right?
TP.
So you don't have the F and the V sound.
Yeah.
Or
We have certain ethnics.
oh yeah, the certain ethnics that you say, they don't have the F and the V sound. The same as Korean language. So Korean people don't have the F sound, the F sound. So for the word like fighting, which means in Korean try your best or hang in there, they say fighting. And like coffee, they say kopi, kopi. They don't have the F sound, so they take the sound in their own language to replace to the sound that closest to the sound in English to replace. Okay, other problems that you might encounter when you study English pronunciation?
Probably one of the hardest one is the silent sounds. Like when you say island, you don't pronounce the S.
Yeah, it is a
Yeah,
problem
it's-
with spelling.
Yeah, the spelling. So when I was a kid, I used to say Island, and my teacher used to scold me for that. So it's you have to know which words you have to say and not to say. So the silent words.
Yeah. Anyone here still think that island is pronounced with the S sound? Like Iceland? Actually, it's just island. And the fish, salmon, there's no L sound. So you don't have to say salmon, you just need to say salmon. Okay, the silent, but it is about the problem with the spelling of the word. Yeah, correct. Other problems that you may want to share? Salma?
Actually, two words. First of all, it's like flour, the one we use to make cupcakes or pancakes. Yeah, that's like written with OU, and I was always like, is it floor? Is it what is it? And I was using it, and nobody could understand me until like my nice friend was like, no, it's flour. It's not floor. It's flour.
She's like, okay, let's make pancake with flour. And I was like, no, flour is the thing that you step on. We can't make pancake from it. And what's the second word?
The same process. The word dough, is it dough? Like the result of the flour, like the flour with the egg.
Yeah, same as we talked before, OU gahe.
Yes, exactly. I never used this word in my life because I didn't know how to pronounce it. I was like, yeah, let's do this, you know, the thing. It's like, I always use the thing to explain it because I didn't want to use this word ever. But now I was forced to use it while we were like, on the process to do pancakes. So yeah, I got taught by her. I learned how to pronounce it. Thank you.
Move the mic. Okay, can you come over there to ask friends the pronunciation problems when we study English? Do you have any? Like, you don't have any? A piece of cake? Kesalahan seperti the air sound, the R sound.
Usually, we have these difficulties in pronounce R and L, like girl.
You did it perfectly.
Yeah.
But okay.
World.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, the combination of R and L, like curriculum, library. So the words that most of English learners have difficulty is like the word girl and word and world, and they just try to not using the words like salmon so that they don't have to pronounce it. So yeah, I think Indonesian people pronounce the R sound very like clearly, like you trill the tongue, so it's like R. And in Vietnamese and in English, people don't pronounce it that way. And because I try to study Indonesian, so I kind of pick up the sound. So there were one time I called my parents at home, and when I speak Vietnamese, instead of saying ro ra, which is the R sound, I say ro ra, and my parents like, what's wrong with you? And Mom, it's okay. It's just like for a short term when I go back to Vietnam, I'll pick up the language again, and it's gonna be okay. So yeah, there's a sound in Indonesian that I think color English the most. Any other sounds? It is surprising when what's your name again? I'm sorry. Yeah, somebody told me that you guys have the ending T sound. I never thought about it. So any other pronunciation problems? The SH. So how do Indonesian people pronounce those sounds? S. So like replace them.
Simply say sh sound as S sound. So for example, the word she, we will simply say sea, shell, sail. So it might confuse with the sea, the ocean, and the selling something with shell.
Do you guys know the task about the SH sound? Like she sells seashell on the seashell. Yeah, Vietnamese people have the same problem. Like Let's say sushi. Sushi. Ooh, you do your homework. Pronounce it. Okay, any other sounds? Because if not, we can move to the games. You just say no because you want to play the game. Think about it. Any other problems? Because I kind of like interested in the pronunciation problem.
For the good and cool, a lot of students, Indonesian students, they would say cool with the L. The L should be silent. We should say could or would or should, not should.
So the L sound. Also, like still add the L sound in the word. Interesting. Okay, she said about the schwa sound. Ooh, you know the term.
In my first semester, my lecturer told me to not pronounce it soda. It should be soda.
Soda, yeah.
I pronounce it soda. So, that's my big mistake.
Yeah, the schwa sound is not even a sound, to be honest. It's like a murmuring sound of people. But you know what? In English, the sounds that appear the most in all the words is that sound, the schwa sound, the O sound, the most popular, the most common sound in English. Okay, so I have a lot of interesting answers today, especially the ending T sounds. Now let's have fun a little bit. So I have prepared a game here about idioms in English. So I will give you an idiom and a picture too for the sake of visual illustration. And I want you to guess the meaning from the picture and the idiom itself. There's several of them. This is the first one. Stick her neck out. And because it is a game, so it's gonna be a gift for someone who gives the right answer. What do you think about the meaning of that idiom? It's understandable, but it's not close to the answer yet. Salma, where's the... Move. So a little bit brainstorm for someone who has no clue. So this zebra is stick her neck out. And what's the situation here? The crocodile may eat those people. So is this berbahaya? Yeah, I think someone has the right answer. No, the word. Say it again. The thought that you have to think out now. What do you think about that situation?
Well, if the giraffe going to drink the water, then
Yeah, the man will die.
yeah.
So the meaning of it is.
You
The
don't know.
meaning of it is, I don't know, a strong and loving woman. This is dangerous. So if you get yourself into a dangerous situation, you can say, I stick my neck out. Yeah. Okay. So, very close. Try to get the closer answer. And we have a gift for the audience, right? Yeah. We have a very beautiful gift. Let's give her. Let's give her an applause for giving a very close answer. The next challenge is sell him short. So when you sell someone short, what does it mean? Nadia? Nadia, what do you think about this idiom?
Unbalanced.
Unbalanced? True. But, or Yeah, it is unbalanced about what the height, the weight, the value.
The value of the man,
Uh-huh.
the value of a person.
Yeah, so when you solve the prince short, it means
Underestimate someone.
yeah. Also, she has the right answer too. Can you give me the present, someone? We have a lot of presents. Don't worry. We are rich. Ya, ibu yang pakai baju kuning. She has the right answer. Please give her a present. Well, let's go to the next one. We don't have a lot much, so think about it and have the presents. You blew it. Oh yeah. Can you say the answer again? Because it's right.
So when something.
Yeah, true. So when you blow something, it means you ruin it, you destroy it. You're not successful. Thank you, Blue. You are so smart. Get away clean. So like, you're supposed to get dirty, but then you get away clean. Salman?
Lempar batu sembunyi.
What do you think?
You do something wrong and then you accuse you didn't admit it.
And?
Yeah.
And
Just
then?
get away.
Yeah. What's the meaning of clean here? Like you're not accused with any crime. It is perfect crime. It is very close.
You pretend that you're not.
Yeah, you don't actually have to pretend that you're not. But the result of it is when you get away clean, it means that no one knows that you have committed a crime. So congratulations, you have the right answer. Get the ball rolling. Oh my god. I just saw a girl opening her present. It's a bunga. Can you raise it so that everybody can see it? This is like a highlighter. It's so cute. If I have the right answer, do I have the gift? Okay, what about this one? Get the ball rolling. Okay. Finally, we have a guy. Oh yeah. There's a lot of words here today.
Keep on doing.
Keep on doing. Actually, this is something that before you keep on doing. Yeah. Nice. You have a very good partner. Congratulations. Get the ball rolling. Get the ball rolling is like you started to do something. Okay, money talks. What do you think?
Well, it's like, yeah, see, I mean like when a person could do anything with money, like you could pay for anything, so it helps you out.
Exactly. So congratulations, you get the present because you have the right answer. So usually people talk, the law talk, and the love talks, but now the money talk is mean you deal with everything with money, and everything is just done with a lot of money.
Is it the same as all the money can buy?
Yeah, like money cannot buy all the things, but almost everything. Like, almost everything. That's true. But oh, this is the last one. Give it my best shot. Oh yeah. Let's hear from her first.
Do your best.
Yeah, that's correct. Is it too easy to guess? I put the easiest in the last. Actually, do we have more gifts? Because I heard the right answer from the girl over here too. So congratulations. You're lucky because I'm here. I can hear you. So this is the last item of the game. Before we wind up the meeting, I want to remind you that the next week, on August 3rd, 2018, there's going to be the next book discussion from Salma from Vienna, the girl who's carrying the mic, running around the room so far. So this is actually the chance I give to you to get familiar with the audience.
So much.
She majored in anthropology and political science. So the next week, she will host the book discussion about Indonesian and anthropological perspective. So if you are interested in it, it's 4 to 6 p.m. like today. Yeah, same time as today. And if you are also interested in language and want to talk to me again, please come back 2 weeks later. Salma and I will co-host the show, the last book discussion, before we launch the opening ceremony for the collection. So thank you, please. We have dinner outside.
Before we end this event, Ibu Beth just wants to say some words.
Oh, that lovely.
Thank you, Salma. And thank you, Lan. So, one applause for Lan for this today. And this is not the end. It should be the first day of road to launching of Ben and Nafsiah Boy collection. So, and then I will continue in Bahasa Indonesia since my mother tongue is Bahasa Indonesia. Oke, jadi hari ini adalah rangkaian 3 pertemuan book discussion untuk menggiring kita ke launching di Ben and Nafsiah Boy collection yang ada di lantai 2 Atma Lib kita. Launching akan ada di tanggal 15 Agustus sekitar pagi jam 10 sampai jam 11.30. Ibu bapak yang berkenan hadir silakan. Nanti pasti akan ada edaran lewat sosmed dan lewat sosmed kita Atma Jaya. Kemudian kalau ibu bapak tergabung dengan jejaring WA mungkin dapat dari WA ya. Nanti akan ada sama dengan book discussion yang kedua dengan Salma minggu depan. Juga akan lewat sosmed, ini sudah jalan. Kemudian tanggal 10 mereka berdua akan merayakan book discussion bersama. Jadi seharusnya lebih seru ya. Nanti bukunya ada politik dan sastra, digabung menjadi polsas itu. Kalau tadi poldur tadi, sekarang polsas itu ya kan? Itu jadi politik dan sastra, polsas itu. Nah, kemudian tanggal 15 ketika launching Ben and Nafsiah Boy Collection, kami sudah kedatangan dengan 1 orang profesor dari Jerman yang Indonesianis. Namanya Prof. Beringa. Beliau akan datang sekitar awal Agustus, kemudian stay sekitar 2 bulan di Atma Jaya. Kalau ibu bapak pernah dengar studinya tentang Islamic Study di Indonesia, beliau sangat kaya, mungkin bisa di Google nanti namanya Weringa. Depannya siapa Bu Agustin namanya? Edwin Weringa. Nah, kita akan hosting Edwin Weringa ini sebagai bagian dari International Scholar yang mencoba brainstorming dengan Ben and Nafsiah Boy Collection. Semoga nanti berlanjut kegiatan ini. Ibu bapak silahkan hadir kalau interesting dan membawa teman-teman sebanyak mungkin karena buku ini untuk kita Indonesia. Terima kasih. Dan kemudian selain acara-acara seperti ini, kalau ibu bapak lihat di flyer juga kita punya tagline Friday Coffee Break. Jadi ini hari Jumat di depan masih macet, gitu ya. Datanglah ke sini, ilmunya tambah gitu ya, atau hiburannya tambah. Kemudian ada kopi sekedarnya gitu ya. Kemudian berteman dengan teman-teman baru. Friday Coffee Break sebenarnya kita adakan setiap minggu ganjil. Jadi Friday pertama dan Friday ketiga, kalau ada kelima gitu ya, kalau ada ketujuh gitu. Tapi sayangnya nggak ada, mentok di 5 gitu. Jadi 1 dan 3 jam 4 sampai jam 6 gitu. Kalau ibu bapak mengikuti sosmed kita pasti akan dapat terus. Diadakannya di Kampus Semanggi, tempatnya bisa di sini, bisa di lain tempat. Minggu depan di bawah di CIMB Digital Lounge, co-working space dengan CIMB dan kita, bisa lebih santai gitu ya, di bawah, di dekat library, di seberangnya. Bisa di tempat lain, intinya masih di kampus. Itu Friday Cafe Break. Kemudian kalau hari Sabtu, jadi kalau Friday itu ganjil, kalau Sabtu itu genap. Nah, menggenapinya dari Sabtu. Kalau Sabtu bisa berada di Semanggi, bisa di kampus 3 BSD, bisa di kampus fluid, tapi pada umumnya Semanggi pasti ada. Topiknya macam-macam dan relatively lebih dekat dengan family. Jadi family mainstreaming gitu ya. Anak-anak bisa ikut, kursus Spanyol masih ada ya? Masih ada. Gratis ibu bapak silahkan ikut gitu ya. Kemudian kursus apa lagi yang bahasa Perancis, tapi hari Friday itu ya. Singkatannya Maharani tapi bisa bahasa Prancis, keren kan gitu. Orang India Prancis itu berarti. Nah, kira-kira seperti itu Ibu Bapak. Silakan follow sosmed kita dan bergabung dengan kita untuk acara-acara yang menghibur dan menambah ilmu kita. Demikian, selamat malam, selamat meneruskan weekend kita.
Thank you, Ibu. Oh, we have dinner outside, and if you are not in a rush, please stick around for that. Enjoy your meal. And if you have, if you want to post pictures and videos on Instagram or any other social media, please use the hashtag that boy so that you can help us to spread the word about the book collection. Thank you.
Tes. Satu lagi, kita akan memberikan apresiasi untuk pembicara kita pada sore hari ini.
Oh, is it for me?
Yes.
Oh.
And you should take it out. This coffee made by our alumni named Yovin, and then inside that the coffee was put inside a bag of rumput laut, seaweed, made by our researcher in technobiology.